Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're taking you on a thrilling adventure inside a hospital. The little nurse raised her badge and said he's Kang Wai, the head nurse, and started pushing Lao Bai out, who instinctively raised his hand to block. A tattoo peeked out from Lao Bai's arm, and Kang Wai froze for a moment, turning to look at the patient, who also had tattoos on his arm. Could it be a gang revenge? Lao Bai started panicking. He had treated that patient, and his words startled Kang Wai. Subtitles. What are you going to do about it? Kang Wai roared, urgently telling his colleague to call the police right away. Yang Zai rushed over with the medical bag. Lao Bai asked him to clarify, and little Yan backtracked to clear up the misunderstanding. Lao Bai glanced at the patient. Surgery succeeded. Things stabilized. Then Yang Zai's phone rang. The rescue helicopter arrived. The two rushed outside. Without a helipad at Goyi University, it landed on the basketball court. Yang Zai's phone was right there. It was right there. It was right there. Right there. Right there. The helicopter landed on the basketball court, and Yang Zai handed the medical bag to Lao Bai. He actually wanted to go back to his shift, but ended up being pushed onto the helicopter. It was Yang Zai's first time, and he was scared out of his wits. Lao Bai appeared very calm. The rescue leader said it was the first helicopter call in 5 years since Goyi University's surgery department was set up. Lao Bai asked the team leader for his number, saying they would be collaborating often, but just as they exchanged digits, the plane hit something. The leader grabbed the walkie-talkie to ask for updates on the injured. Below, a rescue team member reported that Lao Bai asked the pilot for assistance. After it ended, he offered BBQ, but the pilot said it wasn't about BBQ, there was fog ahead. Strong winds forced a return. Lao Bai unbuckled, moved forward, asking pilot for room. Let me be the pilot, he said as the helicopter traveled through the dense fog. They reached the mountaintop accident site. Yang Zai didn't expect the new director to be both a skilled doctor and a pilot. Even more shockingly, Lao Bai pulled out a rope and told him to get ready to jump. Yang Zai was totally bewildered. Shouldn't the rescue team bring the patient up? Lao Bai said there was no time. The patient had no pulse. If you jump, the person will also be lost. Lao Bai urged Yang Zai to think differently. What if that was your mom down there in the fog? Would he be the one to die? And if it were your mom injured down there, would you jump or not? Yang Zai lacked all courage. Just as he was catching his breath, Lao Bai started showing off his skills against sea. He did a wall jump and soared over the cliff. Then he turned to ask Yang Zai for the medical bag. Yang Zai scrambled up, trembling, beside a 1,000-meter cliff. If he slipped, he'd never see his buddy again. Lao Bai called out again, so Yang Zai had no choice but to close his eyes and crawl over. Lao Bai grabbed the stethoscope. It looked like the patient was suffering from a pneumothorax. He pulled out a syringe and jabbed it into the... Even after releasing air from the lung, the condition didn't improve. Lao Bai opened the patient's eyes and shone a flashlight. The optic nerve was already swollen. He probably got knocked around when he fell. Immediate intracranial decompression was needed. Returning to the hospital now would be fatal. Surgery must be done on the plane. Yang Zai was shocked. A craniotomy on the plane. Lao Bai had no time to explain. The patient was in critical condition. He pulled out a scalpel, aimed at the trachea, and called for team leader to assist as Yang Zai shaved the patient's head. Yang Zai's heart pounded, wondering who'd be blamed if the surgery failed. Lao Bai searched long but found no drill in the emergency kit. Team leader suggested waiting just a bit longer. They would reach the hospital in about 7 or 8 minutes. But Lao Bai had seen this before. If they didn't relieve the pressure, they might be bringing back a corpse. After quick consideration, he made a snap decision, grabbing a hammer and a silver needle from the plane's Uncle Pang was about to sip some tea when the cup started shaking. He thought an earthquake hit, but it was actually the rescue helicopter returning. A few people jumped off the helicopter, and Lao Bai kept reminding Yang Zai to hold on tight during the transfer. They couldn't afford to lose the patients. This was something they couldn't just replace. Yang Zai was in total shock as they pushed the patient into the surgical department, where a nurse immediately approached them. Dr. Hewing's not answering. Anesthesia has no other doctors, said the nurse. Actually, he saw the call and worked overtime today. He was 10 minutes away from clocking out, and besides, the caller was from the surgical department. He sure didn't want to be yelled at by Jianghe again. Lao Bai now he finally realized how troublesome it was to offend the anesthesia department. Kang Wai suggested calling that intern over. Okay, be quick, Lao Bai exclaimed. 3 minutes passed later. The intern hurried upstairs. Yang Zai proposed an ultrasound first. Lao Bai, picking up a syringe, told Jianghe all surgical patients were critical. He needed to learn to assess the patient's conditions. This one might not make it long enough for test results. Jianghe looked up to see an incredibly determined gaze. He felt an unprecedented sense of calm. What kind of magic would Lao Bai pull off this time? The director was furious. Lao Bai called a helicopter on his first day, costing how much? Hospital CFO Jianghe reminded Uncle Pang. Your apprentice went too, be careful not to lose him. This made Pang's heart skip a beat. Jianghe was his prior student. He entered Goy on full scholarship, nurtured by kickboxing for years, can't let him be taken. Jianghe was called to the dean's office, where he heard a shocking piece of news. Bai Jiang, who caused a ruckus in the auditorium that morning, was introduced to director Jiang by the president of their rival kick. In other words, Bai Jiang was very likely an undercover sent by kickboxing hospital. If they discovered any kickback issues with equipment purchases, the dean told Jianghe to keep. No matter what Bai Jiang is doing here, we need to find a way to kick him out. Jianghe's mind raced. It was not hard for a leader to make life difficult for